it starts on what is a beautiful night suddenly. It rained from about 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. First pitch pushed back about an hour, but we're ready for baseball. The Cardinals and the Cubs, 70-degree night in Chicago. And this place is packed full as we get ready for first pitch. And we give you tonight's home run odds, available now on FanDuel. I feel pretty good about these guys' chances. Their home run totals this season, 19, 14, 19, and 13. Looking top to bottom there. With a couple of all-stars front and center in Walker and PCA. Well, for the Cubs today, it's going to be Shota Imanaga, and the whole deal with Imanaga is can he keep the ball in the yard? He had a 4-start stretch midway through the season where he gave up 12 home runs. 3 of the last 4 games, though, no home runs, and the ERA back down to where the Cubs wanted him.
Yeah, the big thing for the Cubs is can they get enough pitching, and this is a huge factor for him. And for the Cubs, they need to get some starting pitching consistency. And you mentioned to keep the ball in the ballpark. At home, he's given up 12 home runs in 10 starts. You talked about his success lately, and there's the mixture of pitches that the Cardinals are going to see.
And let's take a look at the Cardinals lineup that will face off with today. It's J.J. Weatherholt to lead things off, and then Ivan Herrera DHs and bats second. Jordan Walker, the All-Stars, the 3-hitter with Alec Burleson at first base hitting cleanup. Mason Wynn is the shortstop. Jose Fermin having a breakout season himself. Lars Newbar's been really good since coming off of the injured list. Pedro Pajes does the catching. And Nathan Church is in center field hitting ninth. He's gone deep 3 of the last 4 games. Cardinals yesterday 17-1 win. And this has been some launching pad this week, John. Last 3 games, 60 runs combined, 21 home runs in the last 3 games here.
Yeah, it's crazy how this ballpark can play one of the biggest and one of the smallest in the same calendar year. And a lot of it has to do with the wind. The wind is calm right now and was blowing in. And these 2 teams, strange. 23 runs for the Cubs and then followed by 17 by the Cardinals.
Yeah, is the biggest swing from one game to the next since the 1890s. For one team, Cubs go from winning by 20 against the Padres in the last game of that series to losing by 16 against the Cardinals last night. So after the delay, we're ready, and off we go with a high drive off of the bat at J.J. Weatherholt. Wow! On the first pitch, bang! So much for the storms cooling things off and the wind dying down, and okay, it's back to neutral. No, it's the 22nd home run in the last 3 games and 1 pitch at Wrigley.
I'll tell you what, the Cardinals are coming off, and you mentioned the schedule they've got to tangle with, but they're riding an emotional high, taking 2 or 3 from the Braves, rallying to score those 11 runs and follow it up with 17. And now they feel like offensively they're as good as it gets. Hard to believe that the second-best team on the road runs per game next to the Dodgers.
A lot of the Cardinals this season, hard to believe. This is a team that's missed the postseason 3 consecutive years. It was supposed to be the year where they finally said, okay, we're going to pull back and really compete, but nobody told these guys that, and they find themselves having won 4 of their last 5 games in playoff position. But a month left heading into the deadline. Ivan Herrera, catcher today, catches, DHs. You look at the National League on base leaderboard, it goes Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, and then Ivan Herrera, 3rd on a 2-1. Out in front, 2-2.
Yeah, what's crazy about the recent run that the Cardinals were on, they have a lot of their guys were really struggling, and this was one of them. 3 for his last 28 and that previous 8 going into yesterday. And you see right here the last 2 games, the offense, and previous 7, that's really been the spark that their manager was hoping could get some of their guys back on track.
Herrera's down on strikes. First out of the game comes on a strikeout for Imanaga. First pitch of the game, though, the thing that has doomed Imanaga throughout his career. He's given up more of these than anybody since he debuted.
Yeah, not a horrible pitch on the first pitch. Looked like it was trying to cut away, but sometimes when a batter has a plan, he goes up there, he goes, this is what I'm going to do. First pitch I see, I'm going to swing. And the results, pretty good.
This is the story when the Cardinals face Imanaga in May in St. Louis. Scored 5 runs against him in 5 innings. He hit 3 home runs to score those 5.
You see the strange target that's being set here at home plate. A high target when he's throwing split finger fastballs. And that might be a little bit to do with release point and getting him to get the ball up in the zone a little bit to start it so it ends down. But you wouldn't see this kind of target typically on that pitch.
Throws that splitter more than anybody in baseball. The league's hitting below 200 against it. It's downstairs here, and ball 2 on Jordan Walker.
Personally, that would bother me. Now, we would never have that combination. I wouldn't be telling but that must be a cue or something that works for him.
Imanaga's in his 3rd season in the major leagues. Remember, just 2 years ago as a rookie, he was 15-3. Top 5 in Cy Young voting. He was doing that again last year at around 2.5 ERA at the All-Star break, but +5 ERA in the second half. He dealt with a hamstring injury, and things kind of snowballed away from him mechanically. And the Cubs actually opted out of the old contract and brought him back on a 1-year deal. Got off to a good start. He had a 2.30 ERA a couple months into the year prior to that stretch we were mentioning, where he started giving up a ton of home runs again. A lot better the last few, though. Kind of crazy his last start. He gave up 9 hits, and the wind was gusting out, but didn't give up a home run. He went 6 1/3 against San Diego, and gave up just 2 runs. He's one of the only pitchers to put up a decent line in that series. Comes home to Walker with a 2-2 and buzzes him inside to run the count full. Well, here is the guy we're talking about off of the top, Jordan Walker. 1st-round draft pick a few years back, top prospect, got to the majors and struggled and kind of became a forgotten man, but has put it all together this year. And takes the walk right here. Puts it all together, and we talk about it like this guy's been trying for 40 years, but he just turned 24 years old.
Yeah, that's the problem with the young player expectation. And look, so many of them have made an impact. You just expect it now, but that pressure is something that not every guy gets out to deliver right away. And the fact was simply hitting too many balls on the ground. Now he's driving the ball, and he's living up to what that potential had been labeled.
Brings up Alec Burleson, who knocked in 4 yesterday. This is a very wild pitch. It almost bounces all the way over the screen, and it puts Walker into scoring position.
Pretty good 3-4 combination from driving in runs with Walker and Burleson. You see the wild pitch. That's one of those rare ones that almost did jump out of the backstop.
There were the 4 runs that he knocked in yesterday, John. He's got 62 on the year. Walker leads the National League 63. Burleson right behind him with 62. Guy, it's always been a good bat to ball guy. He's had it pop the last few seasons, hitting it harder and harder. On this 1-1 from Imanaga, he chases, strike 2.
Struggling against left-handed pitchers, dominating right-handed pitchers is Burleson, so you could see the disparity will be he's going to hit all his home runs for the most part off of right-handed pitchers.
14 total this year. Walker at second, 1 away, 1-2 pitch. Cardinals scoring 28 runs the last 2 games. Offense overall has exceeded expectations, but it's been a bit streaky. Hot the last couple days. Finishing up the series in Atlanta and starting this one in Chicago. 2-2. Burleson takes strike 3. Second K of this first inning for Imanaga.
The high target, and normally you would not want to throw a ball anywhere near there, but that one was outside, and that one you could tell Burleson was like, I really want to challenge it. Men are in scoring possession first inning, but chose not to.
You're telling me Randy Arozarena burnt both for Seattle in the first inning?
Yeah.
Mason Wynn taking a strike. The Wynn's having a really good stretch. This guy's always one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball, but he's hitting .357 his last 15 games. Homered yesterday. When he adds the offense to the equation, this is a super valuable player. Strike two. Imanaga trying to limit the damage to the leadoff home run. Cards have won 4 of 5. Cubs have won 15 of 20. Both teams in playoff position. Here on 4th of July. 0-2 from Imanaga to Mason Wynn. Fouled off.
Well, against the splitters, the Cardinals have struggled. Most hitters are going to struggle. They're hitting 181 as a team against the split finger fastball, which Imanaga likes to throw a lot, especially with 2 strikes.
One of the best 2-strike pitchers in the league. Imanaga tries it again here. And Wynn takes it outside. A little bit different equation for him this year. He, as a rookie, he was in the strike zone more than any pitcher in baseball. It's good he's throwing strikes, but he got to the point where they thought he's throwing too many strikes. Actually, one of the lowest rates of pitches in the strike zone this year, but it's been intentional to try and give up a little bit less damage. That's what he's relied more on this year, getting chase, and he gets 3 Ks in this first inning, but he gives up a home run on the first pitch of the night. J.J. Weatherholt, the fantastic rookie, launches a home run and makes it 1-0 St. Louis. Weatherholt and the Cardinals striking first in this game, and now the Cubs coming to bat. Here's our lineup from Craig Counsell. The All-Star Pete Crow Armstrong leads off. Then it's Alex Bregman and Michael Busch. Seiya Suzuki's been hot lately. Ian Happ's in left field. Nico Horner's at second. Conforto, Amaya, and nobody hotter than Dansby Swanson the last few days. 9 home runs in his last 14 games. Kyle Leahy, the starting pitcher for St. Louis, getting his first chance this year to be a starter after a couple years in the big leagues out of the bullpen. And his first pitch is in there for a strike. So PCA, after a rough first couple of months, on fire last month plus. Historically good June.
Yeah, very vulnerable when he was struggling with the pitch down, swinging at a lot of pitches out of the zone, looking to be more disciplined in the zone, which you can tell now when you're seeing it and you're mechanically right, the baseball looks bigger. And when you're not, it looks like a ping pong ball, and you just feel like it's all over the place. These 2 pitchers do not fill up the zone very often. They pitch differently and get different results. And the big thing for the St. Louis Cardinals starters, they don't go deep, but they're going to rely on that breaking ball tonight, Leahy, against the Cubs. A lot of pitches, a lot of different ways to get you out, but those breaking balls are going to be key tonight.
Oh, call him back. PCA is going to challenge after what he thought was ball 4, but was called strike 2 by the home plate umpire Mark Ripperger. And already lose the challenge. First batter of the game burns the first challenge for the Cubs.
Yeah, again, if this is a 3-2 pitch, maybe in the first inning. I just think that this year is going to really tell the story of what teams learn about each individual player and their ability to trust when to challenge.
Leahy turns and throws. Crow Armstrong eventually does take ball 4 and a little bit extra on that bat toss over to first or over to third. And he's aboard to lead things off. And he said, like you were talking about, he's always had the speed, he's always had the defense, the power has come, but the on base, he's increased more than anybody in the National League. And he said he's thought of it this way: I can be just as dangerous when I get on first base because of my speed. I'm going to try to make that part of my identity. And he's already hopping off to a big lead, threatening to go. Ball on Bregman.
Well, with the style of the game changing, that's what you have to create. Your asset has to be now your speed on the bases, and getting on anyway with the ability and the rule changes to steal a base.
Cubs offense has taken off, even though Alex Bregman has not. Although he says he feels things clicking in the last few days. He had a home run on Tuesday. He had a double yesterday. One of the most mechanically thoughtful hitters in baseball, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a double-edged sword that really becomes tough mentally.
Yeah, it's going to be hard-pressed for me to think he could go this whole year without his power being enacted, right? That short stroke to the middle end part of the plate he used to own.
There goes PCA, and a ball shot down the line foul.
But sometimes when you sign that contract, you have that new team. Now, he's done it a couple times, and everyone talked about this ballpark maybe taking some stuff away from him. That has not been the case confirmed by his manager. He just said he hasn't gotten locked in yet. And look, when this offense, which is the older roster, right? This is one of the oldest. I think it's the oldest roster in baseball. When they get locked in offensively, they put up a lot of points.
Yeah, about 7 runs per game these last 20 as they've won 15 of 20, and they're going to have to hit like that because they don't have any pitching.
No, they've had so many injuries. They're tired of talking about it, but it is what it is. And guys filling in the back end of the rotation in the bullpen, pitching some pretty big innings and situational learning on the job.
Woo! Strike 3 called on Bregman. A walk and a strikeout to begin this game for Leahy.
On the other side, the Cardinals have the youngest roster in baseball. So you got polar opposite, really, roster builds. Teams are similar right now. They do it different ways. And one of these two teams trying to secure a playoff spot. Currently, both would be in it if the season ends today, but it might be hard pressed to think both are going to make it at the end of the day.
You know, it's interesting you talk about the injuries and the Cubs being the oldest team, the Cardinals being the youngest team. One of the reasons the Cardinals have exceeded expectations is they've stayed, knock on wood, so healthy. But again, it's the youngest roster. And then we talk about the Cubs injury issues. It's not all because of this, but it is worth drawing a line to the fact that, like you said, it's the oldest roster.
Yeah, and where Craig Counsell is really hoping to get some pieces back, and whether or not they make moves, they're going to have to make moves to add arms.
2-0 on Bush.
Because the things that, when you think about all of the things that a team does well, defensively, fantastic. On the bases, fantastic. Offensively, really good. It's the other areas that you have to run prevent that is going to be the difference maker on whether or not the Cubs are a playoff team or not.
There goes Crow Armstrong again. Throw down from Pajes, and he got him.
Wow. Now that was textbook. Because that was a really good jump, at least from what I was watching up here. He got a good jump, and this throw is as good as it gets. You know, they used to tell you to throw it to the bag, but the way guys slide and the way that you throw it in towards the runner shortens the distance of the tag.
Pedro McGavin there. That's what he's in there for. Pedro Pajes, not a ton offensively, but very good defensive catcher, and part of the strength of this Cardinals team has been their defense. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Bush. Leahy comes home, and Bush fouls it off.
Now Leahy and the Cardinals are going to have an interesting roadmap to get him to the end of the season, coming up on career high innings. They'll use the All-Star break to stretch it out. He can spin a breaking ball as good as anybody, and now trying to learn the role as a full-time starter.
Strikes out Bush to finish off. Has scored his first inning. Back-to-back Ks of Bregman and Bush. And after an inning at Wrigley, it's 1-0 St. Louis. Telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a grand slam for your budget. Happy 4th. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Out by the pool or out in the backyard, having your own game of baseball. Maybe just settling in, watching some Major League Baseball with the Cubs and the Cardinals here on Fox. Imanaga gets a swing and a miss on a splitter. They dressed for the occasion. Extra special, 4th of July, 250, and what a good year to have the All-Star game in Philadelphia coming up in about a week and a half. Jose Fermin, one of the breakout stars for the Cardinals this year, one of the guys they've given a chance as part of, I'm not going to call it a rebuild at this point, but just as a part of where they are as a franchise, and he has taken full advantage of it. 2 doubles yesterday, 340 over the last month.
Yeah, been really hot since June 3rd.
Spot duty his first few seasons in the major leagues. He's 27 years old. This is the first time that he's really stuck. Got here because of the versatility. Kept him alive long enough to show what he could do with the bat.
Well, as we sat here throughout the day, I watched that wind being blown way in. The storm comes in, and it is as calm as you will ever see at Wrigley Field. So neutral, to say the least.
We were talking to Craig Counsell about the conditions this week. He said it's, even by Wrigley standards, been extreme. The wind is said kind of wind where you start asking, how in the world is anybody going to get 27 outs?
Yeah, that, having been here, done that many times, you start thinking differently. Philosophy has to change. Your pitch selection has to change. And you just got to, you literally have to, I've always said, you know, the toughest place to pitch in baseball is Coors Field. Well, this can be just like Coors Field. And so this is a line drive ballpark. You get underneath the gaps of the wind, you can still hit the ball out.
A little pop into left field. Happ comes on, and he's there.
And it's an interesting left field, right field, because of the way the cutouts are. The power alleys are actually easier to hit home runs here than down the line, which is unlike any other stadium. And then, of course, center field's where you want to keep it. And the center fielder that they have, as long as it's in the air, it's going to be in his glove.
You know, because of how this park can play, like you're saying, one way or the other so drastically, that's what makes Imanaga such a fascinating pitcher to have here as he spins one in for a strike on Nootbaar, because the ball is in the air more against him than any other pitcher. So depending on how the park is playing, that's going to go a long way in dictating what kind of day he has, as with any pitcher, but it's amplified with a batted ball profile like he has.
It very much is. And because he's not a 98, 95, he's got that split finger breaking ball, he's going to pitch up with that fastball. That's where he's comfortable. And you have to survive the games. And even his manager is talking about being very selective. You know, he's going to give up his home runs, just can't be 3-run homers.
0-2 to Nootbaar way outside. And he's got to be good for the Cubs. This is a guy they've got to be able to count on, as they got pretty much a full rotation on the injured list. They got a whole back end of the bullpen on the IL. 13 pitchers total. And they make the move for David Peterson, and he was really good in his first game, but then he gave up 10 yesterday. And another new acquisition, Bryce Wilson, came in after him and gave up 7, and then got cut loose today. 2-2. 2 out. 4th K already for Imanaga.
This ball just might have caught the outside part, but again, early on, putting pressure on the hitter and the umpire with the system is going to be huge, because you're either going to be left without him, and I think that strategy has been playing out in many situations where teams are asking their players, I want you to be aggressive, but selectively smart aggressive has not been some of the players' forte.
1-1 on Pages, has made his mark in this game defensively.
I feel like it's just commonplace. It's like knee-jerk reaction. You just, when the system's there, you just feel like, oh, that's not a strike, and I'm just reacting instead of understanding it's the first inning, or it's 3-1, or you just, if it's the, I would narrow it down personally. Like if it results in an out, then and a runner on base, absolutely. But if it doesn't result in an out, I know counts change. I get it, 2-1 to 2-2, 3-1 to 3-2, but we've seen some interesting ones lately that just aren't working in the team's favor.
Imanaga looking for a 1-2-3 second. Here he comes with the 1-2 to Pages. He strikes him out, and he's got the swing and miss stuff working. 5 Ks for the first 6 outs of the game. The MLB Journey to 30 sweepstakes is presented by T-Mobile, and it's the ultimate bucket list. You can enter now for your chance to win trips to all 30 ballparks. MLB.com/Journey to 30 sweepstakes. Seiya Suzuki leads off the second for the Cubs, and as the Cubs have caught fire lately, a lot of the shine has gone to Dansby Swanson with his RBI totals and PCA the big month. But Craig Counsell said today not enough people talking about Seiya Suzuki, and he said as much as PCA goes, the Cubs go, he feels like Seiya Suzuki is also right there. Seiya goes, the Cubs go. Skies this one to left. Routine for Lars Nootbaar. And the first out of the second.
Well, I can promise you that was a mistake that Leahy got away with, and you cannot afford to throw that one again to a home run hitter. He just gets underneath this hanger, and with the conditions in this ballpark, that's usually going to result in a home run. That is middle, and you could just tell he missed it. Those are the ones when you throw as a pitcher, you like, oh, okay. Got away with it.
Wish you had that go-go gadget arm. Bring it on back. Ball on Ian Happ. I mean, not many guys go this way of reliever to starter. Now, Kyle Leahy was a starter for most of his life and coming up through the minors. Tapper right side. He's going to roll over there to grab it and get Happ. But he said this has been an ongoing evolution for him from start to start, learning things like his routine between starts, even what to eat before and during the starts. He said he's picking up a little bit of information every time.
It's significantly different. I don't think people understand the differences between a reliever and a starter. You know, a long time ago, you were a failed starter, you went to a reliever. Now they're profiling guys and putting them in positions so they can at least be more adaptive to the role. But when you go the other way, when you've been a reliever, then you go to starting, that is a really, that discipline and that change to everything that you know is polar opposite. And you have to learn a little bit every 5 days. What you eat, it seems insignificant, it's huge. When you work out, what your routine is and how you get ready for every 5 days is just as important.
Nico Horner with 2 out. Pokes one down the right field line. Walker on the run to the corner will get there and finish off a 1-2-3 second for Kyle Leahy. The 4th of July, Wrigley Field in Chicago for the Cubs and the Cardinals. St. Louis with a 1-0 lead on a leadoff home run from J.J. Weatherholt. Yeah, to the top of the 3rd we go. Since then, a bunch of swing and miss racked up by Shota Imanaga. Comes home to the 9-hitter Nathan Church, and he's in there with a strike. 4 strikeouts in his last start. He's already got 5 through 2 innings today.
Sometimes you get an early wake-up call, and you get a first pitch homer on the to start your game, and then you settle in, and you get a lot of swing and miss. 9 out of the zone against the Cardinals, and that's how you bounce back. First pitch swings that produce a home run you're not ready for when you come into the game.
9-1-2 for the Cardinals here. The home run hitter Weatherholt will bat second as Church grounds it foul, and don't let the fact that he's hitting 9th deceive you. He went deep yesterday. He's gone deep 3 of his last 4 games, and he's one of those guys the Cardinals have given a chance this year, and he's taken advantage of it. Got his shot when Lars Nootbaar started the season on the injured list and outplayed Victor Scott, and so when Nootbaar was ready to come back, Church was still standing.
It tells you a lot about their lineup when you typically wouldn't have that many left-handers in against a left-handed pitcher, but that split finger fastball really works better against right-handed hitters than necessarily against left-handed hitters.
Church super aggressive when he first got to the big leagues. Much more patient lately, though, and the damage has started to follow that. Use some patience to work the count full here. And now takes ball 4 and a leadoff walk for Church. So a man aboard. Here comes J.J. Weatherholt, and we go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, if only J.J. Weatherholt was in the American League, he might have been an all-star. But in the National League, second base was an extremely competitive position. The elected starter, Ozzie Albies. Luis Ariz elected by the players as the backup, and well-deserved, of course. But that left no room, not just for Weatherholt, but a number of other National League second basemen enjoying all-star caliber seasons. I'm talking about the Brewers' Bryce Terang, the Pirates' Brandon Lau, Diamondbacks' Ketel Marte, and the Marlins' Xavier Edwards. In the American League, Ernie Clement is the elected starter, top vote getter, but the backup is also a rookie like Weatherholt, a one who didn't come up until April 28th, the Guardians' Travis Bazan.
And Kenny, and this guy here in Weatherholt has as good a case as anybody. Albies is going to get it with a great push from Braves fans, and Albies having a good season, but nobody's having as well-rounded of a season at second base as the rookie Weatherholt. Home run was his 13th this season. He's getting on base. He's the best defensive second baseman in the major leagues. Great base runner, 9 for 9 in stolen bases. And you talk about not just an immediate impact, but the biggest gap between expectations and how things have gone. One of them, St. Louis this year, and one of the biggest reasons is what he's done.
There's no doubt. It's the reason they're having, I would call, a surprise year. I think if you polled all the St. Louis fans, there was not high expectation leaving out of spring training. It was shown by their attendance early, but then they'll appreciate the relentless. That's the word that Ollie Marmol would talk about. If there was one thing that they were known for or wanted to be known for, is relentless in every way. And so they appreciate the way that they're going about playing, and it's produced in their currently in the playoffs and over 500 record.
And Chaim Bloom, taking over first year as the president of baseball operations, did what is not an easy thing to do, and that is trade away all the big name brand players. Weatherholt was the first guy that Cardinals fans, after all those trades, could look at and say, okay, this is the next wave we should be getting excited about. And for him to show up and perform the way that he has, right into the leadoff spot on opening day when he went deep, had a walk-off single the next day, and just 23 years old, just 2 years removed from playing at West Virginia, already one of the fan favorites. Churchill first. 2-2 from Imanaga. Count goes full.
I mean, it's interesting. Does success breed confidence, or does confidence breed success? And in this case, I think success for the young players is breathing confidence into this club. And this, again, off to a good start first half season.
Yeah, playing with house money in a season where nobody thought that they'd be here. That is back-to-back walks to open the inning against Imanaga. So as they trade away guys like Arenado and Donovan and Contreras, here's the new wave of guys. A couple of these guys were around, like Jordan Walker and Ivan Herrera. Those guys had been there, as had Burleson and Wynn, but taking extra steps this year, all those guys. Walker exploding into an all-star, Weatherholt arriving and playing the way that he has. Now, a bit of a cautionary story as you look back to last July. They were 8 games up going into July, and by the end of the month they sold because they dropped 16 of 24 games in July. So the Cardinals going to have to keep on going to justify pushing at the deadline. And you don't figure that Chaim Bloom is going to just forfeit the future in order to go for it this year, but you got to figure there's a middle ground there to be played. If you have a chance to be in the postseason,
yeah,
you got to do something.
Yeah, I think so. That'll be pressure on him and decisions, but they don't have any contracts that are guaranteed onto next year, right? They don't have anybody really. They have the ability for their roster to really change or grow within this young core and then make some major decisions after next year's labor gets worked out and you have a deal moving forward, they're going to know a lot more about their club.
Strike one on Ivan Herrera. It's that same story as a lot of these guys, where he got to the big leagues a few years back, probably got there before he was ready, just rushed up because of some injuries and then dealt with injuries of his own. So he didn't have a true look at who he could be, but he's blossomed this year. Top 3 in the league in on-base percentage, hitting for power as well. He's homered against Imanaga this year. Down 0-2 this time. .26 years old from Panama. He's played in every game this year. No small thing for a guy who dealt with a back issue, the knee issue in recent years. Back-to-back walks to start the inning. 0-2 to Herrera. Ripped up the middle, base hit center field. Here comes Church. No throw from PCA. 2-0 St. Louis. Ivan Herrera drives home Nathan Church.
Well, they did a lot of that yesterday. Runners in scoring position, success, and they've done that the last 2 games. Starting with that rally against Atlanta, you see the splitter that just kind of tumbles and stays there, but good hitting up the middle. You try to pull that ball or lift that ball, and that's a double play.
First and second, still nobody out, and now Jordan Walker. Shoots the first one foul.
These situations here for a starting pitcher early on, you sometimes get that first 2 guys on, you try to pitch out of the inning without giving up a run, and it turns into a big inning, right? That crooked number. First and second, nobody out. You have to tell yourself, I'm just going to give up 1. You try trading out, you try to figure out how you can navigate. Now he's got the same situation, down 2-0 with their best hitter at the plate. That's when you start bearing down and making quality pitches, because this inning will get away from you quick. And we saw what yesterday, from the 2nd inning to the 7th inning, they scored in every inning, I believe, the Cardinals.
17 runs on 17 hits in that game. It's a bouncing ball that could turn into a double play. Swanson to second for 1, over to first in time, and just what Imanaga needed.
May take a look at this one. See, manager holds up his hand, gives that 15-20 second, supposed to be 15 seconds. They're gonna let it go because he was out. But exactly right on cue is what I was saying. That when you make quality pitches, you don't, you're not going to get a triple play. You hope to get a double play, but more importantly, got to get that out.
And we get 2 of them on 1 pitch. Runner at third, 2 out. Alec Burleson climbs in and takes strike 1. Strikeout looking his first time. Burleson second in the league, has a chance to get tied with his teammate and runs batted in here with Herrera at third, or with Weatherholt at third. On this 0-1, leaves it up. Burleson in his 4th season. Really wasn't until last year that he established himself as an everyday guy and hit .290, won a Silver Slugger. But another good year for him, even though he says he hasn't really felt locked in completely yet. Chases here, and he's down 1-2.
These scenarios, when they play the modified shift, because you can't play a real shift, you got shortstop right behind second, you got Bregman trying to fill that gap. You hope he doesn't hit one off the end of the bat the other way, because that's an automatic hit.
Strikes him out and limits the damage to 1. Cardinals, though, double the lead. 2-0, middle 3.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field, here with Cubs manager Craig Counsell. Craig, Joe Imanaga, the first pitch home run, he allowed back-to-back walks to open that inning, and yet he only allowed 1 run. How would you assess him so far?
Yeah, I mean, they've done a good job of getting deep into at-bats and making them throw a lot of pitches. So credit to their hitters right now. He's got 6 strikeouts in 3 innings, which feels pretty good. But they've done a good job. He's also got 62 pitches, so they've made him work hard.
Craig, you've had an incredible roller coaster of a season. As a manager, what has it been like trying to deal with the ups and downs?
Yeah, every season presents different challenges, and this team has just been really streaky in terms of wins and losses. Part of that's probably due to some injuries that we've gone through in times, but it's a season, you know, and we're sitting in a pretty good spot, and you just manage it every day, and you go from there.
Craig, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
Yeah, as streaky as you are ever going to see. As Conforto leads off this inning, 2 balls and 2 strikes on him. His last couple of days just kind of a microcosm of the whole season. They go from winning by 20 to losing by 16, and it's like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can only explain some of it. When you go through a season, you love shaking hands. You love coming to the park when you're riding a winning streak, and they've done that a couple times.
Oh, steers this one to the perfect spot, and Conforto's got an infield hit. Yeah, so the Cubs got off to a flying start. 27-12 they were 39 games into the year. That was the best record in the majors, and they had not one but 2 10-game winning streaks during that start, only to see them then lose 10 in a row and go through a 7-22 stretch. Brought them back down around 500. Although things have looked up again lately, winning 15 of their last 20. Best record in the majors the last 20 games. And you put it all together, they're right about where you figured the Cubs would be. 10 games above 500 in playoff position. But the way they have gotten there has been whiplash-inducing.
It sure has. And again, you run through that early start and you start thinking, wow, the Cubs are going to win this division. And then here come the Milwaukee Brewers taking advantage of those streakiness of the Cubs, and they sit atop and doing what Milwaukee does. Yankees might be the second most streakiest team next to the Cubs. And they're getting that. They want that All-Star break to hit quick, so they can reset and buy some more time for Aaron Judge. Some of their pitchers been banged up.
Guess that's a commonality between these streaky teams you're talking about, the Cubs and the Yankees, just injured pitchers. Yankees have lost 8 of their last 9 games. You're talking about the Brewers doing what they do, and it is the same thing every year, isn't it? Every year it's like, well, this will probably be the year where they don't exceed expectations. This will be the year where they're about a 500 team, and every single time there they are out in front, to an even greater degree this year. Franchise record 97 wins last year. They're on pace for 102 this year as Miguel Amaya has worked the count full. Cardinals ahead 2-0. Cubs getting their first hit of this game, an infield hit from Conforto. He's at first base. Leahy will check on him. Amaya, like all these Cubs, had a nice day in that 23-3 win. He was on base 3 times, knocked in 3, scored 3. On this 3-2, swings and misses, and he's the first out of the inning. Well, you want streaky. Time for our Fisher Investments player profile, the face of the streaky Cubs. Dansby Swanson just a couple weeks ago was in as bad a place as he's ever been in the major leagues. He had a crazy good series in New York and then another one against San Diego. And in his last 14 games, he's gone deep 9 times and driven in 29. Over the last 10, 26 runs batted in. The last guy to do that, Joe DiMaggio. How in the world do you explain that?
It's amazing, and that's what makes baseball so unique. It's such a long year. You've got to survive the ebb and flows. You've got to be able to make adjustments. And hard to not go crazy in this sport and get caught up in the moment, good and bad.
And after this crazy streak, to show you how low he was, he's still just at 208. He's gotten the OPS up above 700.
I mean, all you got to do is look in Seattle. If you want to know what baseball is and how crazy it is when you have the most historic year ever by a catcher, ever, and he's struggling mightily this year, at about a 161 average.
The big dumper, Cal Raleigh.
It's a hard game.
60 home runs and 125 batted in last year for Raleigh. 8 home runs, 24 batted in this year. And if you want to look at more advanced metrics, OPS plus, where 100 is league average. Anything above that, better than average. Anything below it, worse. He had 168 last year, 61 this year. From 70% better than your average hitter to 40% worse. 1-2 to Swanson is cut on and miss, and that's back-to-back strikeouts. Change up right there, and Kyle Leahy is leaning on everything but the fastballs.
Well, the Cubs have been pretty disciplined by not expanding the zone. Last couple did. And a big out because another hot hitter is coming to the plate.
Cole Armstrong started this game with a walk. He's caught trying to steal second. Grounds the first pitch foul. #1 position player in the National League in terms of wins above replacement. And yeah, that makes total sense because he brings everything to the table. The power, and now the on base, and the speed, and the electric defense in center field.
When these two teams faced each other in St. Louis, they made him look really, really bad down and in. And you could tell he went after that pitch, but the sign of a hitter that makes progression and changes, he won't just keep swinging at it. You can still get him up down and in. I expect this pitch to be exactly there and test the waters and where his vulnerable spot is.
Lays off the slider up. That's an example of what we were talking about, what we've been seeing do more and more. And he says it's just a matter of, I know exactly what pitch I'm looking for, and I don't deviate from it. Obviously, that changes when you get to 2 strikes. Much more discipline than they've ever seen him. Takes that down and in pitch right there.
And I'm just telling you, that's the difference of having a hot streak versus struggling. He swung at that pitch all the time. It was a hole. Every hitter has a hole. He's closed it up. Mechanically more sound, and to your point, even the mental approach. And a pitcher has to figure out, okay, can I go there again, or is he closed that? Where else am I going to get him out?
So now you're looking at a guy where I better not make a mistake because he's going to hit it out of the yard, to, geez, it doesn't matter what I do, this is going to be tough to get this guy out.
And sometimes that's where you have to adjust. You got to get him out away now. And he tried to go with the changeup away. He reached and got a hold of it. Every once in a while, fastball up above the zone, but the one area you could go to, he's closed up.
And he's worked it full. He's already walked 11 more times than he did all of last season.
Be interested to see if he throws him a changeup away, or tries to spin a breaking ball that back foot, take a chance with a little bit of an aggressive 3-2 count, and the crowd going. A changeup cut. So he didn't even get it close to the area he intended. And as a pitcher and a catcher, you can still say, I can go back for that pitch because it wasn't in the intended spot. Got away with it, but try to make that pitch and execute location.
8th pitch from Kyle Leahy. Will be a 9th. Crazy thing is, he just turned 24 years old. He keeps on adding layers to his game. Keeps on making you think what this guy could become. Conforto's at first, 2 out. On the 3-2 pitch. And he's taken his second walk of the night. Never have walks been so encouraging, so exciting as the ones Pete Crow Armstrong has drawn lately.
That was a great pitch. And again, he had to throw it thinking I can maybe get him off of that discipline. This is a tight breaking ball, and he just spits on it. That's credit to him. You know, pitching about getting information and gathering information has to match with your ability to make pitches, right? You could say this guy can't hit a breaking ball, but if you don't execute a good one, you're giving him a chance. And all of that stuff, game to game, can change, both on the mound and at the plate. You have to be aware of who's doing what in the current moment, not what they've done over the course of the season, but in the current moment. Where are they struggling, and try to expose them.
So when you look at a guy like this and Alex Bregman, what are you seeing? Are you seeing the 690 OPS this year? You're seeing the 840 that he's had throughout his decade in the majors, or something finer than that?
You know what's crazy about it is you got to stay away from his career and live in the moment and say he's struggling, take advantage of it, because you can't be on that watch list like, oh, maybe he'll get out of it here. You have to be aggressive until he shows something different at the plate.
On an 0-1, Bregman takes the ball. It's 1-1.
Because typically, following his career and the 10 years you're talking about, for the most part of that career, he owned that middle half. They're attacking him there now, so that's the change you make. But he never let a pitcher get the ball middle in.
Well, this is where his struggles have been most profound in his first season with the Cubs. He's hitting just 177 with runners in scoring position. And desperate to have one of those big moments in his first year of this big contract. 2 on, 2 out in a 2-0 game. Last of the third. 2-1 pitch. Misses for ball 3. Bush is on deck. And these Cubs fans loving the fight in these at-bats. Sharp ground ball to third, picked up by Fermin, race to the bag, and he tags it. Reaches down to beat a diving Conforto and end the inning.
Well, I'm not so sure that was a quicker way to tag the base.
He says, I want to show you how limber I am. And the inning is over with the Cardinals still in front 2-0.
Cardinals manager Oli Marmol. Oli, Kyle Leahy escaped that inning. He's had an incredible season for a rookie as a starting pitcher. He's not a rookie in general. What have you seen as far as growth from him this year?
Man, just when you look at first, second, third time through, how he's using his stuff, adapting to the workload has been a big part of it as well. When you go from the pen to the rotation, man, it's a big jump. And I feel like he's adapting well. He's starting to use his stuff in a better way. Those 2 punch outs at the bottom there were really good. Didn't give in to PCA. So overall, man, I like what we're seeing in the direction it's headed.
Jordan Walker, first-time All-Star. When you gave him the news, what was the scene like in your clubhouse? What were the emotions?
There's a lot of emotions from Walker and some of the players as well. There's a whole clubhouse that's seen him get scrutinized quite a bit and get sent down, and just a lot of ups and downs for him, and they've stuck with him and had his back. So to be able to present that to him and see him go through that and get on the other side of it and have the year he's having has been pretty cool. But it was a good moment for everybody in that clubhouse.
Oli, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
Jordan Walker told us, Kenny, that he was on the verge of tears when Oli Marmol gave him that news. Mason Wynn lays off this pitch upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The ultimate perseverance story is what Oli Marmol called it. Now, this time last year, Jordan Walker was rehabbing after appendicitis, trying to get his swing right. Fly ball down the right field line is going to find the seats. He's down in Double-A, getting back, but he was so out of whack that he was going into the stadium extra early, 9 a.m. swing sessions with a hitting coordinator down there. That was just 1 year ago, and they asked him how far away does that seem, and he said the gap between then and now is as wide as it possibly could be. Up into some fog, some low clouds that have come down here on Wrigley Field, and Michael Busch will put it away to get wind.
Yeah, you know, for a player who in his own mind has expectations, right? When everything else is put on him, it just pressure builds and you press for results. Now he's getting results because he sticks to the process that has allowed him to get these results, because being consumed with the outcome is never a good thing.
Fermin hooks this ball into left field for a base hit. And next Saturday, the 2026 MLB Draft is on NBC and Peacock. On Monday, July 13th, it's the T-Mobile Home Run Derby for the first time on Netflix. And then Tuesday, July 14th, don't miss the All-Star Red Carpet Show on MLB Network. And it all, of course, leads up to the 2026 MLB All-Star Game on Fox from Philadelphia. 1-on-1 out. Here's Lars Nootbaar. Nootbaar missed the first couple months of the season after having surgery on both his heels this offseason, and it bothered him for years. So he got that taken care of, and they wanted to get him back. Going through some phases where the offense was struggling, but Ali Marmol told us they fought that urge to rush him through it. Wanted him to have essentially a full spring training worth of rehab games, and they're glad that they did, because he has hit the ground running.
That must be a incredibly mentally challenging thing to be coming back from, when you have to rely on your feet for everything you do in this sport.
And he's a guy that's very much part of his game. He's a good defender, gets on base a lot. Longest tenured Cardinal. They've turned this roster completely over. He's just in his 6th season with the team, but the longest tenured guy. The last link to the longtime Cardinals of the previous era, Pujols and Molina. On a 1-2 from Imanaga, Nootbaar pokes one left side. Bregman, lone man over there, shovels it off to Swanson. Pretty double play. Second one they've turned for Imanaga. To the bottom of the 4th we go. St. Louis 2, Chicago nothing. How was the fireworks show? Sounded great. It's loud.
Need some of this fog to clear out.
Back inside Wrigley Field, where the Cardinals got a home run on the first pitch of the game from J.J. Weatherholt. They had a run in the 3rd and a base hit from Ivan Herrera. And the Cubs come to bat with Michael Busch, Seiya Suzuki, and Ian Happ here in the 4th. Strike one. Kyle Leahy. It's now 3 consecutive pretty darn good starts for Leahy. No runs in 3 innings in this game. It's now 1 run in 14 innings the last 3. 6 1/3 scoreless against Arizona. First time that he pitched into the 7th in his major league career, and then beat the hottest team in baseball, Miami, in his last start, going 5 innings, giving up just 1 run. It's another one of those guys the Cardinals have said, okay, we're going to see what we've got. We're going to give him a chance. 2 years pitching in relief, but with a deep arsenal that they figured could be good in the rotation, and they were committed to it. Even though he struggled early on, they said, we're going to stick with this, let him learn, see what we've got at the end of the year. For a former 17th round draft pick out of a Division II school, Colorado Mesa, baseball powerhouse at Colorado Mesa. Starter in the minors, but struggled. He had a season in Double-A where he was 0-8. Had a +8 ERA in Double-A. Busch launches a fly ball to right center field, up into that fog. It comes down to Jordan Walker. He said he changed his mentality, changed his preparation, kept on getting better, got his chance out of the bullpen, and now here he is getting a chance to show him he can be a major league starting pitcher.
Sometimes out of necessity, your career changes. And out of necessity, the Cardinals need guys to go a little bit deeper and pitch and be healthy. Well, they got the healthy part down. That's a credit to their organization, keeping guys healthy. And now they're trying to figure out how they move forward and change what has been an issue on the mound, where everyone's looking for stuff in 98, 99. They really haven't had many starters fit that mold. So how do you zig when everyone's zagging? Well, they're going to have to rely on their defense. They're going to have to throw strikes. And they have to score some runs until they develop some of those arms that everybody's looking for. But I give him credit because there's no other where to go, right? They're not going to let him face right now the lineup 3 times through a lot. They're not training pitchers to do that, so you got to take what you get and adjust off of that, and that's why you're saying only 1 time did he pitch, past that 6th inning.
Here's his 1-2 to Seiya Suzuki. It is poked foul. You're talking about the innings. This is now 85 innings this season after 88 last year. Kenny, what is the plan for how to get through the rest of this season with Leahy?
There are no plans to shut him down, Joe. And when I talked to Leahy yesterday about this whole innings question, he entered tonight just 6 2/3 innings short of his career high total from last year. He said, hey, I'm good. I feel better now than I did 50 innings ago. And the reason for that is he trained all offseason to be a starter. He knew this was coming. And he also feels like the story of his career has been he figures things out as he goes along. So the Cardinals might curtail him some of his starts going forward. But again, no plans to shut him down.
Strikes out Seiya Suzuki, his 5th of the ball game, and now Happ smacks a base hit through the right side.
And my biggest pet peeve in this game is that we don't have scientific evidence. It's just things that people adopt. If this guy threw 98, 99, and you're talking about innings limits, I get it. But he's a pitcher more than a thrower, and you can change the narrative by not just saying, oh, he can only go 20% more innings next year than the year before. It's not one fits all. And so I applaud them in their approach and how they're going to take it. Look, see if he's had a lot of stress.
Fly ball off of the bat of Nico Horner. No big deal for Nathan Church. And that's the inning. 4 in the books in Chicago, and 4 scoreless for Kyle Leahy. MLBshop.com is your place to get all your gear. Go to MLBshop.com, the official source for your favorite MLB team. Back at Wrigley Field, Pedro Pajes pops up the first pitch that Imanaga throws. Bush is over there to give it a look, but that'll be a souvenir.
The wind has picked up a little bit, blowing in again, so whatever's coming in off that lake. Blowing this fog in.
What weird weather this week. From 105 degrees and violent wind to some pretty severe storms to perfection for about an hour. Tonight you got fog sitting on the stadium. Pajes, who struck out his first time. One of the 6 for Imanaga, who has done well to steady himself in this game after giving up the leadoff home run. First pitch that he threw, J.J. Weatherholt, hit out to left field. He's given up just 1 run since and pitched around some traffic. The pitch count, though, fairly high. 75th coming here.
I wish I had the data behind what I was going to say next, but all the years of playing Wrigley Field, get all the different weather. The wind is the wind, but the grass and the surface has changed. You used to not be able to drive a ground ball anywhere close up the infield. I mean, the grass height, it's what made the Cubs and their pitchers and Greg Maddux and all that just so special in the fact that you beat a ball on the ground, there's no chance it was getting through the infield. Now, of course, much different. Don't know when the official change of that height was.
They've done such a great job, not just maintaining Wrigley Field, but building up around it.
Incredible.
Sprucing it up inside while maintaining all its integrity. You still feel like you're coming to an absolute gem, an historic gem. Swing and a miss from Pajes. 7 Ks for Imanaga. Sleeper pick sponsored by Mattress Firm. Johnny, how about Junior Caminero, who's hit 11 home runs in his last 11 games?
I mean, that's incredible. And again, the Rays are incredible. Just when you think. Same thing with the Brewers, but the Rays have a little bit more history. What's their lead? They got a lead of 3 or 4 games now on the Yankees.
They lost today, snapped the 9-game winning streak. Caminero doesn't turn 23 until tomorrow. 22 years old, and he's got 11 home runs in the last 11 games. Their lead over the Yankees is 4. Church swings and misses. Ball and a strike. Ferguson getting ready in the Cubs bullpen. Imanaga's 1-1 is lifted foul, strike 2.
You get around this time, and I love asking managers their approach, because players are human. They could smell the break. They're like, it's a week away, and it's a dangerous week. And it's a dangerous week for both these two teams for a lot of reasons, in the standings, and of course for the players, and just paying attention to details.
Nasty breaking pitch right there. Imanaga's 8th.
He's been unbelievable, but Craig Counsell said he was going to bring it up today and just keep guys aware of how important these next 7-8 days are to get to the break, and then enjoy that break, and then be ready to go when the break's over. I always see these 7 to 8 days before and after can define a club's season or ruin it, just because of that. The season is so long, and you're like, God, just get me to the break. Just get me to the break.
Well, you know the Cardinals aren't going to let up just because of who they're facing.
Right.
I mean, this is quite a gauntlet that Ali Marmol's team has going into the break. J.J. Weatherholt here takes outside 2-0, and we talk about, okay, are the Cardinals going to be in it at the end of July? If they still are, they deserve to have this roster supplemented, because they're finishing off the first half, 14 games in 13 days, and not just that, but against Atlanta, first place team, Cubs, playoff team at this point, Milwaukee, first place team, and Atlanta again. Weatherholt split in the left center field gap, on his way to second with his second extra base hit of this ball game.
Well, both his hits against the left-hander have gone the other way, and impressive for a young pit player to be able to do this when everyone's trying to hit to the pull side.
Imanaga gets his most strikeouts since early May, but he leaves the mound down 2-0. Runner at second, 2 gone in the 5th. Tyler Ferguson checks into the game for the Cubs with the runner at second and 2 gone in this 5th inning. And the first pitch that he throws hits Ivan Herrera.
That wasn't the plan.
That could be the title of the book about the Cubs bullpen this year. They have had to dig deep, go into all far reaches of the major leagues and the minor leagues to find guys. Tyler Ferguson they got earlier this season for next to nothing from the A's after give up 4 runs in his 1 game with the A's. He's actually pitched pretty well for the Cubs, and Craig Counsell was saying that's what he's most proud of this year for this team, is how well these no-name guys, these scrap heap pickups, have pitched out of the bullpen. In some trouble here, though. 2 on, 2 out, and Walker at the plate. Walker today has a walk and grounded into a double play. Going to be hard, though, to take the smile off his face, finding out he's headed to the All-Star game. Weatherholt at second, Herrera at first. Walker, the major league leader in runs batted in, swings and misses, and it's 0-2.
That would be the challenge for Walker. With this style of pitching, way off the plate, this pitch needs to be away again.
Two. It was, but he took it.
Great pitch. And a good take. You just tip your hat if you're the starting pitcher, or if you're the pitcher right there.
Big spot here for Ferguson, trying to keep this game tight. as the power numbers have tailed off a little bit lately for Walker, he's continued to hit for average. And Riley Marmol was saying that alone is a sign of growth. Didn't let it spiral when the ball stopped flying out of the park.
See, that last pitch was for effect. He fouled it off. That pitch was a mistake, because to go back in to show him that I'm going to bust you in and then I'm going to sweep the breaking ball away, he left this pitch right down the middle.
Tries another 1-2 and leaves it upstairs. Check swing, 2-2. Cardinals trying to make life tough on Ferguson, just like they did on Imanaga for a chunk of this night. He got those 8 Ks, but a lot of long at-bats. This one ends with a strikeout, a fastball to get Walker. Ferguson strands 2, and we're halfway home at Wrigley Field. Well, just 10 days from now, MLB's best descend on Philadelphia for the All-Star game right here on Fox. PCA of the Cubs, Jordan Walker of the Cardinals, and a bunch of their buddies. 5 Braves, 5 Dodgers, 5 Phillies representing the National League. That doesn't leave too many spots for anybody else. American League side, the East reigning supreme with the Rays, the Jays, the Yanks. All with 4. We can't see a thing as we go to the bottom of the 5th. And Michael Conforto hooks a fly ball down the right field line. He's 2 for 2. Leadoff single for Conforto as Walker hustles over there to ensure that he can't take 2. So Conforto's on, and up comes Amaya.
Cubs looking to get something going. Boy, you could just imagine those 2 games they had against San Diego, feeling good coming to the park.
There's a bunt here from Amaya and foul.
And it just went south.
Yeah, crazy left turn. 32 runs in a 2-game span against San Diego on 30 hits and 13 home runs in those 2 games. They've scored once in the 2 games against St. Louis. Andre Palante got his 10th win yesterday for the Cards, and today Kyle Leahy. Amaya smacking one to right field, putting Walker on the move. He adjusts and makes the catch.
I'll tell you what, Walker and his improved defense. Manager's talking about what a good job he's done defensively, and he made a great play on the first one, keeping it to a single. And then this ball had a chance to get in the gap, and he had a great read. Ball comes back towards him, doesn't overreact, and no big thing.
And the fog. Wonder if it's thick enough to affect them at all.
Probably not yet. There's probably the one spot with the lights that it could still get in there, but always looks worse on TV than it does at ground level.
So we're a candlestick.
Yeah, candlestick. That brings up
for just about everybody, I think. Inside on Swanson, our producer Aaron Stoikov says it was a pitcher's park. John.
Oh man, I think my numbers there are horrible.
Yeah,
you could start a game at 72 degrees and quickly get to 45 and complete just right off. Who thought putting a stadium right next to a big rock in the water was a good idea?
The water.
Now they have a beautiful park.
Yeah,
and it plays a lot better. Still a pitcher's park.
Well, this park can transform from one to the other, from one day to the next, and this week is good evidence as that as there's ever been. Tying run at the plate, 1 away in the 5th inning. 2-1 to Swanson is swung on and missed. Danzy struck out his first time, one of the 5 for Leahy. He's used that entire 6-pitch mix to put together another solid start here. Much more efficient than he's been. Strikes out Swanson for the 2nd time. Say he's used the entire mix, but he's kind of, relatively speaking, stayed away from the fastball and the sinker. It's been the curve and the slider and the change that he's gone to.
Yeah, he's done a great job, even with some traffic and knowing that he's not going to go much deeper than this inning, more than likely.
Does get a chance here to face PCA for the 3rd time. He's walked both times and gathered a lot of information, both long at bats. How about this? The walk his last time, it took 9 pitches. First 3 years of Pete's career, he had 3 walks. They went 9 pitches or longer. That's the 5th that he's had this season alone. Up there as the tying run and getting hit, and now aboard with his speed, although one bad puppy. Headed the wrong way.
Trying to get that tingling, awful feeling when it hits you right in the meat of your foot. There is not much protection there. Ooh.
That crowd reaction you hear is him sprinting down there to first base. So first and second here, Bregman comes up. Kenny, you have some very important information for us.
I am here to tell you that John Smoltz is the Hall of Famer who cried wolf. Career numbers at Candlestick Park, also known as 3Com Park. 18 starts, 3.68 ERA.
Yeah, but what was the record, Kenny?
What was the temperature?
The record was 7-5.
Oh, okay. It was a little better than I thought.
But it was cold and windy. So Bregman again has the game find him here, and it seems like when you're going through it, the game tends to. He's 0 for 2 today. He was up with runners at first and second and 2 gone his last time. Grounded out to end that inning. Pops it up this time. That is up into the fog where it disappears for a moment. Now it comes down, and Burleson makes the grab, and Bregman twice has come up empty in that situation. Fourth of July, and we kind of got Halloween vibes here in the fog. Cards got a run in the first on the first pitch of the game. J.J. Weatherholt with a home run. They got a run in the third, and now they get a leadoff hit from Alec Burleson. Might have cracked his bat there. Singles into left field. For his first hit of the game, happy to have the lefty Imanaga out of there. It struck out both times against him. St. Louis looking for its 5th win out of the last 6 games. In playoff position. And their shortstop Mason Wynn, one of their hottest hitters, although today he's 0 for 2. Drives the first one to center field. PCA goes back, shy of the track, makes the adjustment and the catch.
That's got to be. First you got to locate it, and then I mean this wow, this is one of the best center field, well, a lot of people call him the best center fielder in baseball, putting on the brakes and then coming back to get the ball before.
One day it's the wind, the next day it's the fog, always something dealing with out there. Ball inside on Jose Fermin. National League starters in the outfield. You've got Pete Crow Armstrong, Brandon Marsh, Andy Pages. Marsh of the Phillies, Pages of the Dodgers. First All-Star games for those 2 guys. Fermin 1 for 2 today. Fouls it off. 1 ball 1 strike. Who are your starting pitchers? Who are you picking?
Well, it's you got to always go with storylines sometimes when it isn't so obvious, and if it wasn't, in Philadelphia, you can make a case for Mizorowski. But I think because it is in Philadelphia and Sanchez has had such an incredible year, you reward him.
With Cam Schutler on the other side?
Probably. Yeah.
Boy, what a rapid rise that is. This ball gets away, and Burleson's going to rumble into scoring position.
Not the speedy guy you would think would draw a throw over there, but nonetheless, he gets to second.
He's attempted 2 steals all year. Saying, what are you doing? I'll take it. Chance for Fermin and the Cardinals to tack on. Strike 2.
I know there's going to be a lot of guys that think they can hit anybody in the American League All-Star lineup, but they're going to be really tuned in to where and when certain guys pitch on what their chances of success are going to be.
You mean like if Mizorowski's coming in the second inning, I don't want to be hitting in the middle of the order?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then depending what they do with Skeens and Sale and
how does Miz do it? How does he consistently, easily throw 103, 104?
I think he's in tune with his mechanics, his lower half. He doesn't just sling it like throwing it as hard as he can. He's got genetics that work in his favor.
Fermin down swinging. 2 out.
We're manufacturing 99, 98 out of players and bodies that shouldn't be doing it. And then there's some that have that gift, the long whip and the arm. And I just think he knows his lower half, and he's figuring that part out to make the whip much easier on the upper half.
Got a pitching change coming here. Craig Counsell comes out to make the change. Top of the 6th. Good game going here at Wrigley Field. And the new pitcher for the Cubs. Runner at second. 2 gone. Strike 1. Rolison a year ago a 7 ERA for the Rockies. He's come to the Cubs and he's got a sub-2.
Also got 6 ways to get you out.
On for the lefty Newt Barr, and ahead of him 0-2.
That right there has been where hitters are having a hard time hitting. We're seeing fastball.
Week shy of his 29th birthday out of Jackson, Tennessee. Lefty Rolison. Look at second, comes home and strikes out Newt Barr on 3 pitches. To the bottom of the 6th we go on America's 250th birthday. Cubs and Cardinals back in a moment. I am officially hooked on the World Cup and on Team USA. Ready to move into the round of 16 against Belgium Monday night. It's going to be some kind of environment in Seattle. Coverage starts early, 6 o'clock Eastern, with a match at 8 on Fox. This is George Soriano who comes in, and for that pitch right there, he's been really tough on left-handed hitters, having a breakout season in St. Louis.
And they need it. Every arm is important for a team that doesn't have a lot of starters that go deep.
Soriano first few seasons was in Miami, had an ERA around 6. He's come here to St. Louis though, and about halved that. Cubs have 3, 4, and 5 due up. It's Bush, Suzuki, and Happ down 2-0.
I'm just going to say I don't think the red card was warranted.
I'm with you.
I'm just going to say it right now. Look bad, but hopefully they can overcome that.
We can say we can be homers with this. Hopefully we can overcome it.
Overcome it.
2-2 on Bush. Cubs offense that have been averaging 7 runs per game during this 15-5 stretch. It scored 32 runs the last 2 days coming into this series. Just 1 run in 2 games against St. Louis. And this fog has gotten even heavier. Soriano fires, and Bush almost gets hit. Seiya Suzuki's on deck. Cubs would love to get him to the plate as the tying run here. Bush, who got off to a miserable start this year, one of their better hitters a couple of months since. On a payoff pitch, swings and misses, and Soriano starts his night with a K.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle Leahy was absolutely great at getting the ball down and spinning it down and creating these hitters off balance. He can spin it, and he has ways to get you out, and he did a great job limiting the damage when there were runners on. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits, and that's pretty much 5 innings is what he'll do right now, and the Cardinals will take it.
And that's just another step in the direction he's been headed. And the numbers for Kyle Leahy this season exactly align with what you would expect. A guy who's learning as he goes. 5.5 ERA his first month. ERA's around 3 since. And in his last 3 starts, 16 1/3 and just 1 run. Against some good offensive teams, Diamondbacks can hit. Miami, best record in baseball since the start of June, and we've talked about what the Cubs have done.
He's in a nice stretch right now, and probably will have that one more start before the All-Star break.
Suzuki swings and misses, and you figure point blank down there they can see fine, but it's gotten to the point I can report from up in the booth. We can't see the outfielders.
Yeah, we cannot. We cannot.
Can't really see it, I'm sure, as you guys see at home. Can't see watching the monitor. This is our view. So seem to recall that there are 3 guys out there in the grass, but cannot confirm at this point. 2 up and 2 down, and a pair of Ks for Soriano, and here's Ian Happ. 1 for 2, one of the 3 hits the Cubs had against Leahy.
Catcher's challenging the pitch.
Got a challenge coming here from Pajes. What was called ball 1.
That is the catcher, if you're wondering, because you can't see. Technology might not be able to see the strike zone.
There's a chance that with this fog being this
Ball
thick,
stands. It is a ball.
they can't get
is not operational at the moment.
the input. They can't get the data input into that.
Yeah.
We can't see the ball, JJ says. All right, makes me feel better, JJ. Neither can I.
Wow.
So because they couldn't get data right there, the call just stands. It is a ball. And Ali Marmol says, I've not seen this one before. AI has met its match. It's called fog. This is something, man.
Well, now it's getting to the point where a play is going to be affected, and somebody's going to lose a ball or misplay something.
And it's getting worse and worse, like by the minute at this point. Ali Marmol, by the way, was asking, does that count as a challenge? And they do not lose a challenge in that case. I think the infielders are starting to say we shouldn't be on the field at this point. I mean, you have weather delays, you have rain delays when the conditions get unplayable. This feels like it's getting close to hard to play through. Happ will check on one of those infielders. Left side, it's Mason Wynn. Whips it across and gets him. And gets the Cardinals off of the field, and the Cubs out into the fire. Has gotten to the point where Craig Counsell said, hang on, let's talk about this. And Cubs have not taken the field, so I think we are technically in a fog delay at this point. Game started in a rain delay, started about an hour late. Got it going. It was beautiful when the game started, but the fog has rolled in here to the north side of Chicago and got to the point where the Cardinals fielders were saying, I don't know if we want to keep going. They were saying we can't see the ball, and Craig Counsell saying, well, we're not going to go out there and try to play They can't see the ball. We're not going to be able to see the ball, but it does feel like it's eased up a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely. It was way worse when we were talking about somebody's not going to see.
Right.
But you got to be able to defend yourself off of some balls off the bat.
What you got?
Well,
there?
I've got something pretty special here. I mean, rarely do you get a chance to see. This is Gary Stark visiting clubby. 50 years in baseball, bobblehead, known him forever. Man, congratulations for all those years. He's been doing it here in Chicago for a long time, so that's pretty cool.
Those are some of the unheralded stars in baseball behind the scenes. Every visiting clubhouse, every home clubhouse, obviously thankless. You talk about long hours. Those guys. Kenny, how bad is it? And what are they saying?
It's bad, and talking to people in the Cubs dugout, they're saying obviously they cannot see, and the question is it unsafe for hitters at the plate? And that presumably is what's being discussed. And a couple of people in the dugout asked me if I've ever seen this before, so for Wrigley, this might even be a first, and that's saying something for this ballpark.
Man, Kirk Counsell, like he was telling us earlier, this is a first in terms of how viciously windy it was this week, even for Wrigley. And now first of the fog. Man, what a horrible feeling that's got to be. But yeah, to Kenny's point, if it gets to the point where hitters aren't sure if they can see it, that's where you totally got to draw the line. Bullpen guys have no idea what's going on.
They're
like, what's it seems like there's no game going on anymore. What's the deal? Nothing new for Chicago, though, having to deal with weather. How about the Fog Bowl in the NFC playoffs in 1988? The Bears over the Eagles. 20-12 final score.
Yeah, the bullpen, since they moved them indoors, it used to be on the side of the field. By the way, that was my biggest, if you want to talk about, I was never nervous on a field until I had to throw either in San Francisco or Chicago, where the bullpens were down the line, and the catcher, if the ball got by, the catcher would call time, and everybody on the
sees,
they just wear you out. Honestly, that's the most nervous I've ever been, is throwing bullpens on the field, getting ready to come into the game, versus now the traditional bullpens, which are on the other side of the fence.
I think the last place to have it was Tampa Bay. The last place to move it. It was weird, though, when they first moved it here, because it was such a indelible part of the field at Wrigley Field. And got the Team USA theme song right here with the soccer team, Country Roads, and everybody's singing along.
What do we need, that 4 more times to be sung? Is that right?
Yeah, I love the ambition. What I'm told, as a growing soccer expert, is that they can win this next one, but then they play Spain, and I don't like what people are telling me about that matchup.
Well, you know, anything can happen.
That's, remember Michigan Appalachian State a few years back?
Yeah.
Have you seen Hoosiers? Come on, America. How about this summer on Fox? Yeah, the World Cup semis leading into the All-Star game the next day, the second semifinal. Dodgers, Yankees to get the second half started. And then the World Cup final one day after that. We can just hang in New York after Dodgers, Yankees on Saturday.
Do we know where that World Cup final is?
We do. It's in the Meadowlands.
Oh.
Yeah, it's quite a weekend there. After USA beats Spain, and whoever dares step into their path in the semifinal, we'll see who they're playing. Well, as fun as this is here at Wrigley Field, we're going to take a break, let this fog clear. It's the Cardinals 2, the Cubs nothing. Hope you're having a great fourth. We'll be back to Chicago in a moment. 2-0 game. Pedro Pajes pops the first pitch at the top of the 7th inning. Ryan Rollison, who came on to finish off the top of the 6th. He's out there for the 7th. Wacky.
Yeah, I'm just glad nothing happened in that past inning because it could have gotten ugly for the Cardinals. And all is good now.
Cardinals got a run in the first inning, got a run on the first pitch of the game on a Weatherholt home run. They tacked down in the 3rd. That is it. And Kyle Leahy, 5 scoreless innings against this hot Cubs offense. 8-9-1 for the Cardinals against Rolison here in the 7th. 1-2 on Pajes. St. Louis trying to get its 5th win in its last 6 games. Waiting an hour for first pitch and then 15 minutes for the fog delay. Fireworks might actually happen on July 5th at this rate. Midnight is better than 4 a.m. like in Atlanta in 1985. Not often they get to do that in this neighborhood. A lot of restrictions about what you can do, and even with night games here, long running thing. Fly ball right field. Easy one for Michael Conforto, and the first out of the 7th.
I'll tell you what, PCA will not get credit for much. You see him running right there? He ran from center field all the way to right field just in case his teammate had lost it or couldn't find it. And I'm telling you, that this says a lot about not taking anything for granted.
Out Nathan Church. Is this something that if we looked for it we would see more often, or is this rare what happens right
I think right here, I mean, this is just a heads up, and he has not stopped running just in case. They say on a play of baseball a player has a responsibility and should do something rather than watch, and that's a great example of it. You never know what's going to happen. You just don't assume, and he didn't do that.
It's cool when you see that stuff in addition to the otherworldly talent, because you can do things like that without talent, but when you put that stuff together, and that's when you got the guy that everybody's going to want to wear the jersey of, but he's going to want to be like.
I mean, there's some guys that don't even get to first base on a ground ball
on this team.
And so it's amazing how the little things, you know, that you take for granted in this game that can turn into big things if you're not running every single play. It's not that hard, but guys fall into it a lot.
What about the Bregman one the other day, where he said he's had 10 soft tissue injuries running to first base, and it's a balance?
Yeah, I think that balance, and that when you've had some history, that when it's accepted and known that the player and the manager will tell the player, hey, there's a time to push it and a time not. That's different. But I'm just talking about everyday routine. You know you're going to be out, and you jog, and the next thing you know, the guy drops the ball, or you're just not ready for the moment.
3-2 to Church, and he earns the walk. 4th walk of the game drawn by St. Louis. Imanaga had hardly walked anybody lately, but drew 3 against him. And now the first one against the bullpen. Back to the top of the order in Weatherholt. Two for 2. Home run in the first inning, double in the 5th. And a walk of his own sprinkled in there. That's a pitch clock violation on Rolison. So 1 ball, no strikes, just like that.
Now I wonder if technology will work if they do challenge. Probably will.
Seems like the fog is dispersed enough. We were talking with Oliver Marmol about Weatherholt, and you know, the skill is apparent, but he said if he was doing a creative player on a video game, he would take J.J. Weatherholt's personality too, the steadiness, the consistency of that personality. Exactly what you'd pick. When you're trying to build something, not necessarily from the ground up, but when you're doing a bit of a rebuild, to have a guy like that leading the charge, coming up as your first-round pick of 2 years ago, as part of the next wave, sort of the head of the next wave. How great for St. Louis. And he's got his third hit of the ball game. Homer double single for Weatherholt.
All to that part of the park. And all against left-handed pitching.
That's going to be it for Allison. Ivan Herrera's coming up, and Craig Counsell will go back into the bullpen. Cards up 2-0. Threatening for more here. 2 on and 1 out in the 7th. J.J. Weatherholt on base for the 4th time in this game. First and second for the Cardinals. They lead 2-0, and they've got Ivan Herrera at the plate. Swings and misses at Trent Thornton's first pitch.
Elbows. You're going to see elbows as a hitter. And what I mean by that, long, lanky. You see the numbers on the year. He's funky.
32 years old in his 8th season. First one with the Cubs, and it's been a good one. Former Blue Jay and Seahawk.
There's the cutter and the big breaking ball that hitters have a hard time picking up because of his funky delivery.
Sounds like a million firecrackers are going off. Might be what it is. Somebody brought their own to the party there. Thornton, the third reliever for the Cubs. Imanaga went just 4 2/3. Ferguson to Allison to Thornton. And the Cardinals have had their chances to break this game open, but just 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. 4 straight innings, they've stranded at least one. (3-1) to Herrera. Hits it hard, but right at Swanson. 6-4-3, the third double play of the night for the Cubs. Chicago in time to be able to see the fireworks tonight. Special post-game fireworks show at Wrigley Field on America's 250th birthday. 2-0. Cardinals have spoiled the party a little bit on the north side so far with the early offense. Ryan Stanek comes on to pitch. Bottom of the 7th inning. 6, 7, and 8 coming up for the Cubs. Stanek was away for the birth of his 3rd child the other day, but he's come back and scoreless inning yesterday on just 13 pitches, and so available again here. It's Nico Horner to lead things off. Check swing, no swing.
Fastball, slider, splitter, and sinker.
Against Horner, who is it's a confounding one for the Cubs. This is a guy who seems like is as reliable and trustworthy as they come, but just has not hit this year. He's going to start this 7th, though, with a base hit. 280 hitter for his career, below 240 for the season.
Not a power guy, more of a contact, to your point, average guy that hits for average.
And now it's Conforto, who is 2 for 2 in this game. He's got an infield hit and a line drive base hit to right field. First season with the Cubs, and been a rebirth for him. After he hit a .190 last year in his lone season with the Dodgers, he's come to the Cubs on a minor league contract, made the team in spring training. Got a challenge coming right here from the catcher Pajes that he will win with strike 1 instead of ball 1. And for Conforto, it's the best he's been since back when he was in New York, and he's an all-star caliber outfielder. Two home run game this week against the Padres, 7 total this year.
Well, that splitter's right. It's going away from a lefty. And that one cut. You cannot afford that pitch to cut into a lefty.
Stanek throws. Conforto wraps it on the ground foul. Ryan Stanek has been all over. In his 10th season, 6 teams, he's had a stretch where he's as dominant as anybody. That World Series team with the Astros in 2022 that had such a good bullpen. He had a 1.15 ERA on that Astros team. 4 games in the World Series run, didn't give up a run. Let's go for 1-2 pitch, and strikes out Conforto with the high fastball.
Four-seamer. Maybe the sinker. Looked like a sinker there.
Hard, whatever it was. Like a lot of what Stanek throws. He's got his first out and brings up the catcher Amaya. Amaya did some good things early on in his career, but stunted by injuries recent seasons. 27 years of age, out of Panama. Both these teams are the catcher from Panama. Amaya for the Cubs, Herrera for the Cardinals. Pedro Pajes, part of a good catching group for these Cardinals, doing the catching tonight. In the dirt, 1-1. Jojo Romero's ready. Probably for the top of the order in PCA. 3 batters away. Talking about the Cardinals' chances to grow the lead and haven't been able to, but the Cubs have had traffic throughout the night. 0 for 10 with men on base. Pop up off of the bat of Amaya. Burles in the call. And the catch, and make it 0 for 11 with men on. So the 7th inning comes down to Dansby Swanson, who has struck out both times today.
Getting that power stroke, sometimes start looking to do that a little more often.
Down the line foul. Last 2 games of the Padres series, he was 6 for 9 with 5 home runs and 11 RBIs. Hitless over the first 2 games against St. Louis. 4th year of a 7-year contract. 32-year-old from Georgia, longtime Atlanta Brave. It's a fly ball to left center field. Nootbaar slides over to the track. He's at the wall. It is caught. Wow, he just missed. Swanson that close to another home run, and Nootbaar and the Cardinals sighing and smiling.
The wind got it right at the last minute. You seen him come in. The wind blowing in kept that 2-0.
2-0, and had he hit that an hour ago,
yeah,
might have been gone
for sure. Yeah, this ball, the wind is picking up again. It's all about timing in this ballpark.
It was dead still first half of this game, but in from left the last couple innings. Trent Thorne stays in. Jordan Walker leads off this inning for the Cardinals. 0 for 2 today. Does have a walk.
You know, as a pitcher in this ballpark, you never want to see your outfielder go towards the ivy, because the overhang takes those kind of fly balls and can get that cheapish home run. It's not but about 3-4 feet, but he was definitely positioned in that place where the pitcher's heartbeat and heart rate was way up there.
The home run in this game landed in the basket. Weatherholt, first pitch for St. Louis. This one just avoided it. It's funny, Stanek even pointing out there. It's like everybody knew. Even he'd been around a while. He didn't have to play it cool. He knew. Two to the newfound all-star, Jordan Walker. Down the left field line. That is a fair ball. An extra bases for Walker. Leadoff double here in the 8th. They got their Norwegian rowing celebration right there. Here's the wind gods helping out Ryan Stanek.
There's Newt, and then you're going to see Stanek pointing to the flag too, like, I see you. Thanks for the help.
Thank you, Lars. Thank you, God.
And then he said, "Pop them up."
Thank you, Win. Yeah. Another chance for St. Louis here. 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Strike on Burleson. Cards have 7 hits in this game. They've had 7 walks. They've had a batter get hit. All kinds of traffic, but only the 2 runs to show for it. None since the 3rd. Oliver Marmol said this is his favorite team that he's managed. His 5 years as the skipper. Mentioned the word relentless earlier. He said that's the one word that he thinks this group would want to be called. Said we want to leave town and have the other team exhausted. Glad that we're hopping on the plane to get out of there. Rocket down the line, foul. What better example than these last couple days where they play a night game in Atlanta on Thursday, win it, offensive explosion, get to Chicago at about 2:30 in the morning, and then 12 hours later have to play the Cubs again, show up, and with that youthful exuberance, score 17 runs. Almost like they embraced the fact that they didn't get any sleep and that they weren't supposed to be able to play well. It's foul ball.
And that's more than half the battle, is mentally just dealing with it, because you can find excuses in this game and you can find reasons. But as most managers will tell you, no one's going to feel sorry for you. And make necessary adjustments, and they've done it as a young ball club.
Just got a piece. Let's check in with Kenny.
Joe, it's so interesting about the Cardinals. They made all those trades in the offseason. Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, and finally Brendan Donovan. And when a team does that, when it deconstructs like that, sometimes it allows younger players to grow into leadership roles. And that is what has happened with this team. And it's been interesting to see develop.
There's a base hit for Burleson. Fights off a couple of 2-strike pitches and knocks in Walker to make it 3-0.
That's one of your leaders right there, Alec Burleson. Mason Wynn is another. And this team is growing into something that is surprising the entire sport.
And I would think, John, that every day they believe a little bit more.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. I mean, I was part of a run that we never thought would be 14 years, but no one thought in 1991 we would start building this kind of momentum when we played for the Atlanta Braves. And I think it's similar. When you have young players without major veterans on your team, you're learning together and you're gaining that intel together, and you gain confidence.
Mason Wynn, ball and a strike.
Because there's 2 sides of it. What do you have to lose? And what you don't know sometimes you gain by getting through the fire and going through everything that gains an experience down the road, which your roster will benefit. And then management makes the necessary adjustments to plug the holes. But we're in a fast-paced sport. Like, you want people to execute now and then send them out now. Like, it doesn't work that way all the time. It takes time. Like, Walker's a perfect example. Today's starting pitcher might be a perfect example of what he turns into the next 2-3 years. Sometimes it takes time and consistency and sticking it out.
It's also just the world we live in these days. We want everything right now.
Right now.
Burleson takes off, and there he goes without a throw. Strike 3 called on Wynn, but Alec Burleson gets his 3rd stolen base of the year. Been busy on the bases tonight.
He's been busy, but Wynn took one for the team right there because he knew it was a stolen base, and unfortunately the pitch was strike 3. So once he had this running lead, he almost Wynn is like, oh, I got to let him get there. And you can see right here, he just gave it up. Once he took the hands and the barrel back, he was giving it up to let him get to second base.
Fermin fouls it off. And you can see on Burleson's face there for the first few steps, like, please don't step off, please don't step off. He was head to rights if he did. Said he gets a stolen base, and it's an RBI chance for Fermin. And it's 0-2 on him. Ball and 2 strikes on Fermin. Mentioned the Norwegian soccer team celebration. Fermin's the big soccer fan that hatched that celebration for the Cardinals recently. Norway playing Brazil tomorrow in the round of 16. But yeah, they do this big. One guy hits the drum and then everybody rows. Tall task tomorrow against power Brazil. High fly, shallow center. Horner calls and catches. 2 gone. Another pitching change coming here. Craig Counsell going to go lefty-lefty for Lars Nootbaar. 3-0 game. Cardinals have finally tacked on here in the 8th. To Philadelphia for the All-Star game. The game's best taking center stage in the Midsummer Classic, July 14th, only on Fox. Lars Nootbaar coming to the plate here, and the left-hander Caleb Thielbar is on to face him in a 3-0 game. 39 years old out of Northfield, Minnesota. Longtime Twin in his 2nd season with the Cubs.
His delivery is what makes it hard to pick up the ball sometimes when he is right.
First pitch going to get a bouncer down to first, and Bush takes it himself, and that's all it takes. Thielbar to finish off the top of the 8th. Back with our USAA team leaders, and the tone set. Very first pitch of the ball game, and J.J. Weatherholt launched this home run. The leadoff men in this game have reached base all 7 times they've come up. Weatherholt 3 for 3. Also walk in there, and Pete Crow Armstrong has reached base 3 times, 2 walks, and he was hit by a pitch. And he's up there to lead things off for the Cubs in the 8th. Running out of chances to get this offense charged up again after the explosion this week against San Diego. They were held just 1 yesterday, and a goose egg so far today. Jojo Romero's on, and he gets strike 1 on PCA.
Yeah, he's another funky left-hander with his delivery and slingshot. Tough on left-handers at the plate.
Jam shot, shadow center. It is down, and a leadoff hit for Pete Crow Armstrong, who stays perfect today. And now the leadoff men have reached base all 8 times they've come up.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah, a lot of crazy talk tonight, John. Crazy fog, crazy talk. Bregman has had a man aboard all 3 times he's been up. Twice he's had 2 on with 2 out, and he's 0 for 3. And this rough first season in Chicago has continued. It would be more surprising, though, if it continued much longer than it would if you looked at the end of the year and he still had his numbers around where they are. Decade of being an all-star level hitter. You don't suddenly just lose it. He's 32. He's not 62. 2-0. Downstairs for ball 3. Hit a home run on Tuesday, hit a double yesterday. Said he feels like it's clicking into place. Finally feeling the way he wants to. On a 3-1, he takes ball 4. Challenge from Pajes.
I don't think he's going to lose this challenge.
Catcher is challenging the pitch.
He does. Back-to-back walks to, or back-to-back base runners to start the inning for the Cubs. And they've got the tying run coming up in the form of Michael Busch. Feels like they've had the tying run up perpetually in this game. Ground ball right side towards the hole. Weatherholt will go to first and get the sure thing. Up to third goes PCA, to second Bregman, and to the plate Suzuki.
That was a veteran play by a rookie. By getting the out at first, recognizing they're up 3. Even though you want to get that runner at second, this had an opportunity to be a very tough throw, and he took the sure out. If it was a 2-run game, then maybe you're a little more apt to be aggressive to keep the double play in order.
All right, John, here's Suzuki, who has been as hot as anybody, and that's saying something with how many hot hitters there are in this Cubs lineup. But over the last week, 379, 3 home runs, and 11 knocked in.
Get the right guy, line drive, home run hitter. Trying to draw this game, potentially tie it, or make it a 1-run game with a base hit.
Missed the first couple of weeks of the season with a knee injury. He still has racked up 13 home runs. First pitch. Strike 1. Final season of the 5-year contract he signed coming over from Japan. Underappreciated. Really good hitter. Really good player. 1 ball, 1 strike. Streaky, but every year you look up, it's going to be a 4th consecutive season where he's got an OPS above 800. Tying run at the plate in the 8th. The 1-1 pitch. Suzuki takes outside. Ball 2. Two 1. Evens up.
Missed his pitch. 2 pitches tonight he's missed. Right there.
And then he goes down swinging. How many times do you see that? It's not the one that finishes you, it's the one before it that you should have hit.
Yeah. Challenged him, not trying to get the ball down the middle, but that one just underneath it, and then aggressively chasing the changeup away.
So it's up to Happ, and he takes a strike. Switch hitter, flips around, bats right-handed. Longest tenured Cub, a decade here in Chicago, and a lot like Suzuki, it's just steadied things out. You always know what you're going to get. Swings and misses. 0-2. Better from the other side of the plate. Can he deliver here to get the Cubs on the board? Second and third, 2 out. 0-2 is taken for ball. So Joe Romero playing with fire here in the 8th inning. First 2 reach against him. Sitting at second and third. A lot of the crowd standing.
I would stay stubborn with that changeup. He pulled it. pulled his sinker, trying to get the changeup away, that he got the swing and miss. Would be the ideal situation here with 2 strikes.
Two and two on Ian Happ. Here it comes. Right down the middle for strike 3. Stuck with a sinker. And like a house by the side of the road, Happ watched it go by. Cubs are threatening. 2 on, nobody out, but they do not score. And it stays 3-zip through 8. Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org and follow @playball on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Top of the 9th inning, Pedro Pajes fouls off the first pitch from Caleb Thielbar. Needed just 1 pitch to finish off the 8th. Talking about the Cubs having their chances in this game, John, really this entire series they've had traffic, but 1 for 26 with men on base in the 2 games.
That's just crazy how quick something could flip. Couldn't miss against the Padres. Of course, some of that, you know, weather and hot, balls jumping.
Looping curve right there, 1 and 2 for the Cubs. In the bottom of the 9th inning, they've got Horner, Conforto, and Amaya due up. Not much punch on the bench. Dean, Alcantara, Kelly, and Ramirez. Cubs had won 5 straight going into yesterday. Still 15 of their last 20. Cardinals 4 of their last 5. Everybody chasing Milwaukee, though. 6-game lead in the division for the Brewers. Grounder up the middle, skips over the bag. And Horner throws out Pajes.
Well, the Central for the longest time had a bunch of teams at 500 or above. The Reds have fallen off. Pirates hanging in there, but it'll be a race for 2 teams, I think. 2 teams, maybe 3. To get in the playoffs.
Brewers trail 4-2 against the Diamondbacks in the 8th inning in Phoenix. Nathan Church. So the Cardinals, as we've touched on a little bit, have made things, it's a good problem to have, but difficult on Chaim Bloom, how to handle this deadline. Kenny, how do you see him going about this?
Well, Joe, you're right. They never expected this opportunity, never expected to hold a playoff position on July 4th with playoff odds about 40%. That's pretty good. So Chaim Bloom is in a difficult position, but one that he welcomes. He is not going to abandon his goal of building a perennial contender in St. Louis. At the same time, he's not going to ignore the opportunity for the Cardinals to return to the postseason. The fans want that, and more than anything, his players want that. And the one thing we don't talk about often with teams like this is the value of playing meaningful games in September. And that, John, is something that really you can't take away from a team if they're in a good spot.
Yeah, I could see why they did what they did last year and even this offseason. But they're going to be presented a very, very interesting challenge because you always want to win, but you also got to build. And they're ahead of the curve, so we'll see what happens at the trade deadline.
J.J. Weatherholt trying to keep a perfect night going. Homer, walk, double, single. Triple shy of the cycle for the rookie.
I think the interesting issue in this generation of baseball where we're so quick to sign people to 7-8-year contracts and they haven't played in the big leagues yet. Cardinals got to find some intel and find out what they have and not get so quick to the draw, because you've seen a lot of scenarios in other cities. It hasn't worked out. There hasn't been the hit rate lately.
Finally, they retire Weatherholt. All right, so to the bottom of the 9th we go. 6, 7, and 8 coming up. Riley O'Brien getting ready for St. Louis. Today's telecast is sponsored by Geico. It feels good to Geico. Felt good first pitch of the game for J.J. Weatherholt to launch a home run. The Cardinals have a 3-0 lead and 3 outs away from taking this series from the Cubs, who had won 5 in a row and 15 of 19 coming into the weekend. Riley O'Brien. Cardinals have turned into their closer, and he's thrived in that role. He's gone through a bit of a bumpy patch recently, but those 21 saves, most in the National League.
He's another guy that's gaining confidence through success.
Horner leads off for the Cubs. O'Brien, 31 years of age, his first year as the full-time closer. Got 1 game in the major leagues with the Reds to debut in 2021. The next year, 1 game with Seattle. Didn't pitch in the majors for another 2 years. Last year, St. Louis got his chance when they traded Ryan Helsley at the deadline, showed that he could be this. And it's just the latest in guys on this roster that's been given a chance and seized it.
And that's the key right there, because commanding that sinker, which may not be a big, huge swing and miss, is going to be the key for him long-term success, because then he can mix and match with a secondary pitch. But commanding that pitch right there, he's going to learn how he can get quick outs without throwing a lot of pitches in a save situation like this. When a 3-run game, you have to make the hitter hit his way on. You do not have to strike out all 3 guys and fall into the victim of the stats that people are looking for.
Because conventional, modern baseball wisdom is you need all the swing and miss in the 9th inning.
Right.
He's going to get strike 3 right here. But while there are times for that, see exactly what you're saying here. Like, make life easy on yourself when you have that ability.
That's right. First pitch right down the middle. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but your first pitch down the middle might get that ground ball quick out. And the next thing you know, you're able to be used a little bit more often. I'm not saying 3-run saves are easy, but it's the easier version.
Ball on Conforto. There's 2 hits in this ball game. How about this Cardinals pitching staff in this game and in this series now? There were some concerns after they had 8 innings from the bullpen last game in Atlanta. Yesterday, Andre Palante, though, was really good, 5 2/3 to get the win. And then today, after the 5 shutout innings from Leahy, Soriano, Stanek, Romero, and now O'Brien putting up zeros.
See, now on the flip side, Conforto's 1-0 swing was not a good one. There was no chance to make him throw a strike in his mind. He was going to try to hit his way on in a 1-0 count. Now he's worked himself into a 1-2 count. You got to get defensive.
Checks his swing, 2-2. Maya, the catcher, is due next, but they've put a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle. Pedro Ramirez is going to pinch hit. Cubs will lament their missed opportunities leading into this 8th inning or into this 9th inning in this game. Goes full on Conforto. And he takes the walk.
That's where the growth will happen. The more he's in these situations, the more he'll realize. He obviously wasn't trying to throw a ball, but tried to throw a nasty sinker that gets out of the zone, which is right down the middle.
So Ramirez sent up there as the pinch hitter. He had a triple off of the bench yesterday and scored their lone run. If he can reach, they get the tying run up there in the form of Dansby Swanson. Ramirez, 22, out of Venezuela. Just turned 22 years old on April 1st. Scalds Lines it up the middle, right to the shortstop, wins, steps on the bag and fires to first to end the game with a double play. A 3-0 win for St. Louis, and against this red-hot Cubs offense, the Cardinals have taken the first 2 games and given up just 1 run.
So far, the gauntlet in their schedule has not put them sideways. They're won the last 2 series with this win tonight, with some big ones coming up.
So this grueling stretch you're talking about, going into the break, 14 games in 13 days against some of the best teams in the National League, and the Cardinals are trying to say, hey, we are here for real. We are here to stay in this National League playoff picture. Take a break. Back to Chicago with more right after these messages. They win this series against the Cubs, and we go down to the field. Ken Rosen.